So students, we are discussing about the timer instructions in the last class. Is the screen visible, students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So what is a timer then? Can anybody tell me? Function of a timer? We have discussed in the previous class the on timer, correct? What is a timer? What is its function? What is the job of a timer? Is anybody? In general, what is meant by a timer? In general. Yes, please.
So it times the processes and
Yes, it schedules or it times the functions.
functions.
Correct. Yes, you are right. So the function of the timer is to schedule the tasks. Okay, that is the scheduling is done by the timer. At what time the function should remain on state, or for what time that particular job should remain in off state. Okay, that is controlled by the timer. So the timing operation is controlled by the timers. Okay, so such of the instructions we call them as timer instructions. Let us move on to the in-depth study of timers. Here the first topic that we are going to study in today's class is SLC 500 timer file. SLC 500 timer file. This is the Allen Bradley SLC 500 company's timer file. As we can see in this figure, it is the timer which is file number 4. This timer is file number 4. This stands for the timer. Okay, as you can see in this T4:2, what does this indicate? T indicates it is a file type. File type is a timer type, and 4 indicates the file number. What is the file number? Whether the file number is 5 or 7 or whatever it may be. Here in our example, the file number is 4. File number 4, and 2 indicates timer number, which timer we are using. Whether we are using first timer or fifth timer, which timer we are using. That is indicated by this :2. So this is the designation of T4:2. Then here each timer element has 3 words. So this T4:2, this particular timer, we call it as timer element here. Timer element or the timer. This timer has got 3 words. It has 3 words. Each word is of 16 bits. Each word is of 16 bits. Okay, 16 bit means 1 bit means it can store 1 bit of data. Is it not? 1 bit in memory location means it can store 1 bit of data, either 0 or 1. Correct. So that is the meaning of the bit information. Like this, it has 16 bits. Each word have 16 bits. Then the 3 bits here out of 16 bits, they are called as that is control bits. These are called as the control bits. That is the enable bit. En stands for enable, is bit number 15 in word 0. TT stands for the timer timing operation. It is bit number 14. Then DN stands for done bit. It is bit number 13. These 3 are called as the control bits of the timer. The function of EN bit. The function of EN bit is to enable the timer. EN stands for enable. Enable the timer. That is to activate the timer, to turn on the timer. That is, this enable bit ensures that the timer is turned on. That means this enable bit makes the timer to turn on. Then TT, timer timing bit. Bit number 14, timer timing bit. This bit, when it is activated, when it is made equal to 1, the timer will start to operate. The timer will start to operate. It will start moving with its timing value. Starting from 1, 2, 3, 4, it goes on counting. Okay, so that is indicated by this timer timing. When this bit is enabled, the timer will actually start its timing operation. Then DN bit. DN means done bit. Once the timer is switched on, when we switch on the timer, then this done bit, after the enable bit is turned on, this done bit ensures that the timing operation takes place. Now once the timing operation is completed, then this done bit goes false. After the timing operation is completed, this done bit goes false, indicating that the timer operation is completed. The timing is completed. These are the 3 bits which are called as control bits. Then in word 1, it is 16-bit. We know that byte information is 8 bits. Okay, word means it is 16 bits. Right? Word information is 16-bit information, 16-bit memory location. Then preset value. Preset value is the set point of the timer. That is, to what value you are setting the timer to maintain the timing. Suppose say I use a stopwatch. I use a stopwatch or stopwatch in your cell phones, right? I give the timing input timing value as say 60 seconds. 60 seconds. That means the timer has to count starting from 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, 4 second, like this. It should go on counting up till what value? 60 second. It should go on counting up till 60 seconds. Once it reaches 60 seconds, then the timer will become off. Timer will become off means it will become 0. It will reset to 0. Now the timer, when it is counting, say 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, 4 second, this is called as the accumulated value. Accumulated value means whatever the timer is counting, whatever the timer is maintaining the timing, that is 1 second, 2 second, 3, 50 seconds, 60 seconds. This is called as the accumulated value. Once the timer reaches its final value or the set point value, okay, here the set point value, what we have given? We have given 60 seconds using the that is a stopwatch timer, correct? Now once it reaches 60 seconds, that is the set point value. This 60 second is called as the preset time or the set point value. Then once it reaches 60 seconds, so when it reaches the 60 second value, when the accumulated value becomes equal to the preset value. Accumulated value is whatever time it is counting for every interval. That is called as accumulated time. Once the accumulated time becomes equal to the preset time, the timer will reset. Timer will reset. Timer resets means it will become 0. And again, if we enable the timer, only then it will start counting. It will start to increment. Otherwise, it will reset to 0 and it will stop there. Okay. Now there is one more that is bit here, one more term. It is called as the base value. Okay. So this base value is nothing but it is called as time base. Time base or the base value. The time base is for what increment we are incrementing the timer value. That is called as the time base. Let us say we are incrementing the timer value after every 1 second. So 1 second, 2 second, 3 second. Okay, it goes on up till how many? 60 seconds. So whatever the every increment it is making, that is called as the time base. Time base. Okay. So this is the time base. We have the preset value, that is the set point value, and the accumulated value. Okay. The Allen Bradley SLC 500 timer file is file number 4 as shown in figure 1. Each timer is composed of 3 16-bit words. Every timer has got 3 words, that is 3 16-bit words, and it is called as timer element. So this timer which has 3 words each of 16 bits is called as one timer element. This timer which has 3 words each of 16 bits is called as one timer element. There can be up to 256 timer elements. So like this, we have one timer here, one timer element. Like this, there can be maximum 256 timer elements. Addresses for timer file 4, timer element 2. That is T4 stands for timer file 4, and that is :2. It means that is of timer file 4, and :2 indicates the timer number, which timer it is or which timer element it is. T4 stands for timer file 4, :2 timer element number, and this timers may be ranging from 0 to 255. Okay, in one file there can be maximum 256 timers or timer elements. T4:2/dn. This is the address for the done bit of the timer. They are of single bits. T4:2/dn. Done bit. Once the timer is enabled and after the timer completes its operation, this bit will become false. That means this will become 0 once the timer completes its operation. This is the done bit. Then T4:2/tt. This is the address for the timer timing bit of the timer. Timer timing bit. Its address is T4:2/tt. In this particular bit address, the status of the timer timing is stored. Either it may be 1 for true state or it may be 0 for the false state. That is, when the timer is maintaining its timing, it will be 1. Once a timer accumulated value becomes equal to preset value, when it reaches the final value, then this TT bit will become 0. T4:2/en. This is the address bit for the enable of the timer. To enable the timer or to start the timer, this T4:2/en bit is used. The control word uses the following 3 control bits. There are 3 control bits, that is the DN bit, TT bit, and the enable bit. These 3 are called as control bits. Enable bit EN is true, has a status of 1 whenever the timer instruction is true. If the timer instruction is true, then the enable bit is also true. It has a status of 1. When timer instruction is false, the enable bit is false. Suppose if timer instruction is false, okay, then the enable bit will become 0. It has a status of 0. Following here. Then timer timing bit. The timer timing bit is true when the accumulated value of the timer is changing, which means the timer is timing. When the timer is timing, when it is counting, okay, that is when the accumulated value is continuously changing, say from 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, like that. This is nothing but setting the bit TT to 1. Okay, the timer timing bit will be made equal to 1 because of the timing operation of the timer. Let us say that a timer is not timing. Timer is not timing. That means the accumulated value is not changing. That means the timer timing bit will become false, or the TT bit that is stored will be 0 if the timer is not timing. That is, accumulated value is not changing, then the TT bit will become equal to 0. Timer timing bit will become equal to 0. 0 will be stored in the TT bit position. Done bit DN. The done bit changes state whenever the accumulated value reaches the preset value. Done bit is after we are enabling the timer, after we are activating the timer, turning on the timer, then the timer will time. After it completes the timing value, what will happen? The timer will make the accumulated value, the time, because of the accumulated value becomes equal to the preset value, the timer will reset and it will become 0. The status stored in the all the control bits will be 0 once the timer will reach the final value, and the done bit will also be reset. Set value, PRE. The meaning of preset. Preset is nothing but the set point value, the final value that we want the timer to count at. That is called as the preset value. Preset value or the word is a set point of the timer, that is the value up to which the timer will time. This preset word has a range of 0 to 32,767. The value that can be stored in the preset value is 32,767. 32,767. Okay, that is the value that can be stored in the preset. Fine. This preset value is nothing but it is stored in the binary format. The preset value is stored in the form of binary number, zeros and ones, not as integers. Fine. The preset will not store a negative number. Can the timer value be negative anytime, friends? Have you heard of the timer value being negative anytime? Is it possible the timer to have a negative value? Yes or no? The timer can have negative value?
No, sir.
No, it cannot have negative value. We cannot say the timer is moving backward, is it not? It is always we look at the future, correct? So it is maintaining the timing, correct? It is always moving ahead, okay, doesn't move back, correct? So similarly, the timer value cannot be a negative number. The accumulated value ACC, accumulated value ACC in short, it is a value that increments as the timer is timing. When the timer is timing, the increments it is making, the specific intervals it is making, it is the accumulated value. And for what time it makes the increment, that is called as a time base. Please make a clear difference of the accumulated value and the time base value. Accumulated value is the value it is incrementing in the timer direction. Okay, the timer value that it is incrementing, that is the accumulated value. And for what interval of time this every increment takes place, say after 1 second or 0.1 seconds, this is called as the time base. Okay, the two should be very much clear here. One is the accumulated value and the time base. The accumulated value will stop incrementing when it reaches the preset value. The timer instruction requires to enter a time base. Time base is either 1 seconds or 0.01 seconds. Either we can increment the accumulated value for every 1 second or for 0.01 seconds. On delay timer instruction, let us move on to the timer instruction, which is called as on delay timer. On delay timer is the timer instruction where it is operating when the ladder rung becomes true. When the ladder rung condition is true, this on delay timer will function. Hence it is called as on delay timer. Okay. The next figure shows an example of on delay timer instruction used as it can be used for both Allen Bradley PLC 5 controller and also for the SLC 500 controller instruction sets. The information to be entered includes what all information we need to enter. Let's look at that instruction. This is the timer instruction, on delay timer instruction. In this on delay timer instruction, what all we are having, students? Can you all identify? One is the timer T4:0, then timer base 1.0, preset 15, accumulated 0. Okay, so here we are having enable bit to enable the timer, to activate the timer, and once it is completed the operation, the done bit, DN bit is activated. Okay, now here timer T4:0, what does this indicate? Timer 4:0. Can anybody tell me what does this indicate here? Yes. What does this timer 4:0 indicate? Yes, please. In the previous slide, we saw T4:2. What does it indicate there? T4:2 means what? Are you following here, students? Everyone, are you following? Yes, please.
So 0 is timer number, no sir?
Correct. Exactly. What about T4? T4.
File type and file number.
Exactly. You're right. 100%. So T4:0, it indicates that is timer file 4, and 0 indicates the timer number. T4 is timer, T for timer file, 4 is the file number 4 of the timer, and :0. This 0 indicates the timer number. It is the 0th timer of the timer file 4. Fine. Next, time base 1.0. It means the timer will count, or it will time for every interval of 1 second. Preset is 15. Preset value is 15. It is counting every 1 second. It counts or it times, and once the timer value reaches 15, it will stop, or it will reset its value to 0. That is the preset value. Accumulated value is 0. Why it should be 0 accumulated value? What is the reason why they have shown here accumulated value is 0? Any idea? Because it is at the beginning, still it has not yet started to time. Hence, the accumulated value is shown as 0. Suppose it is in between. If you take the status in between the timing operation of the timer, then the status of all these bits will be different. This is during the startup. Still, it is not started. The timer is not yet started. Under that step, they have shown this timer status. Okay. Timer number, this number must come from the timer file. In the example shown, the timer number is T4:0, which represents timer file 4, timer 0 in the file. This timer file 4 and timer 0. The timer address must be unique. This is important. The timer address is unique for every file and for every timer. No two addresses can overlap, or no two addresses can be similar. Suppose it is timer 4, timer 1, that is address will be T4:1. The timer 2 cannot have the same address T4:1. Its address will be T4:2. It is the same timer, or two timers cannot have the same address. That is the meaning of this sentence. The timer address must be unique for this timer and may not be used for any other timer. Unique means one timer will have only one address. It cannot so happen that one timer can have two addresses, or two timers can have one address. Not possible. Okay. Time base. The time base, which is always expressed in seconds, maybe either 1 second or 0.01 second. In the example shown, the time base is how much? This example, 1 second, 1.0 seconds. Preset value, in the example shown, the preset value is 15, and we know that the preset value can range from 0 to 32,767. That means, what is the maximum value that you can store in the timer? Maximum value that you can set the timer is how much? Yes, please. Here the point is, the timer preset value can range from 0 through 32,767. That means the timer maximum value can be set is 32,767. Correct? The maximum value that I can store in the timer, the preset value for which you want to count, that value maximum is 32,767. Is it not?
Yes, sir.
Accumulated value in the example, it is shown as 0. Timer's accumulated value normally is entered as 0, although it is possible to enter value from 0 to 32,767. That's what I mentioned here, that even though we can show any other accumulated value, but it is shown as 0 because it is the initial value that is being shown in this figure. Regardless of the value that is preloaded, the timer value will become 0 whenever the timer is reset. Once the timer resets, okay, it will come to 0. And again, when you next time when you trigger the timer, when you enable the timer, that time again it will start to time. On delay timer instruction. On delay timer T-on is the most commonly used timer. This is the most commonly used timer. Next figure shows PLC program that uses an on delay timer. The next figure what we are seeing is the on delay timer. Okay. Here, how does this timer function? This is the timer instruction that is used in the ladder rung. How does this function? How does the ladder rung work? Let us look into that. The input switch A closes. Switch input A closes. When this closes, this is which instruction? Examine if closed. Correct? Try to recollect what we discussed in the previous classes. This is examine if closed instruction. Am I right? Relay and internal contact, they are opposite. Okay. For relay contact, it is normally opened is just two parallel lines. Closed contact is two parallel lines with the cross line for the relay. Okay. For the internal contact, that is two brackets, opening and close bracket, with the cross line is normally open, and if there are two brackets opening and closing, then it is examine if closed. Examine if closed. Okay. This is the examine if closed instruction. If the switch is closed, then the timer instruction will be enabled. The timer instruction is enabled when the enable bit is set to 1, and when this rung becomes true, the ladder rung 1 becomes true, the timer instruction will be turned on. When timer instruction will be turned on in the first rung, then because of the enable bit of the timer, when it is made to 1, then it is triggering or it is activating output coil B. Output B is activated. So when output B is activated, this green LED or this green indicator will be turned on. Green indicator will be turned on. Then when the timer starts to time and it starts counting timing operation, the TT bit will be 1. So examine if closed, this switch will be in closed condition and output coil C will be energized. This when output C is energized is going to turn on red LED or red light. Then in the last rung, the fourth rung, the done bit, once the timer reaches its final value, that is the accumulated value becoming equal to preset value, then the output coil D will be energized and hence the yellow indicator or yellow pilot light will be turned on. Okay, this is a simple description of the on delay timer instruction which is used in this ladder rung diagram. I hope this is clear for you all students, the working of this on delay timer instruction. Any difficulty up till now? Any difficulty up till now, friends? Any questions? Any difficulties?
No, sir.
So,
Okay. Okay, fine. Here shows the PLC program that uses on delay timer. Operation of the program is summarized. This timer is activated by input switch A. Okay, I'll explain that. I'll explain. The preset time for this timer is 10 seconds. Preset time for this timer is 10 seconds. Preset time here, look at the preset time, student. This is important. Preset time is 10 seconds. The preset time, it indicates that once the timer is turned on, once this timer instruction is turned on, it will time up till 10 seconds. Okay, and once it reaches 10 seconds, it will become off and the timer values will be reset. Okay, I come to the function of the timer. The preset time for this time is 10 seconds, which timer output D will be energized. When input switch A is closed, this is a function. When input switch A is closed, the timer becomes true. When input switch A and this is closed, when you are pressing the switch, correct? That means this is examine if closed instruction. It will activate when the switch is closed. Okay, when the switch is closed, this examine if closed instruction will activate or will get actuated. Okay, So when this is activated, okay, so when we put switch A, then the timer instruction will be turned on. The timer instruction will be turned on because they are connected in series. So this is going to turn on the timer instruction. The timer becomes true and the timer begins counting and counts until the accumulated time equals the preset value. When input switch A is closed, when this switch is closed, the input A gets activated, it becomes true. When this becomes true, the next condition, that is the instruction or the timer, this also becomes true. Okay, so both becoming true because the ladder run becomes true here. The function of on delay timer is when the run becomes true. When the ladder run becomes true, that time this timer will be turned on. That is the function of the on delay timer. That is why it is called on delay timer. The meaning of on delay timer is if the ladder run is becoming true condition, then the timer will be turned on. The timer will be turned on because the condition of this rung is true. Input A is turned on. It is true. The rung becomes true. Timer will be turned on. Once the timer will be turned on because of the enable bit that is activated, when the rung becoming true, this enable bit is activated and the timer is turned on. It will start to increment from the accumulated value 0, 1, 2, 3 till 10 seconds. Once it reaches 10 seconds, as the accumulated value becomes equal to the set value, the done bit will be activated. DN bit will be activated. Okay. Now, initially, which bit is enabled? Which bit is activated? Enable bit is activated during the turn on of the timer. Only when enable bit is made equal to 1, the timer will be turned on. Otherwise, the timer cannot turn on. It is only because of the enable bit that the timer action is started. Otherwise, if enable is 0, the timer cannot start. It never starts. Clear? So enable bit is 1 once this becomes true, and that is why here when this enable bit is set, this is true, becoming true here. Okay, this is becoming true. Then the output coil will be energized. The output coil will be turned on because of the enable bit here becoming true. Okay, so examine if closed, and the output coil B will be energized. So this output coil B will be energized, which is going to turn on the green indicator which is connected to the output B. Next, the timer will start to timing. It will start timing. It will increment its value. Yes. So as it starts to increment its value, this TD bit will become closed. When this instruction is closed, examine if closed, it is actuated or activated, and the output coil C is energized. Because of this becoming true. When the output coil C is energized, the red LED which is connected to the output coil C will be turned on. Then the last one, the T4:0 DN bit, once the accumulated value becomes equal to preset value, the done bit will be high. Done bit will become high. That means examine if closed, this condition will become true. Examine if closed. Once it becomes true, the ladder rung becomes true, and the output coil D will be energized. Okay, output coil D will be energized means the coil Y will be activated. The coil Y, this indicator light Y will be turned on. Okay, the output D is then energized. The timer becomes true and the timer begins counting and counts until accumulated value equals preset value. The output D is then energized. When the done bit is activated, the output coil D will be energized. I hope you are following your students now. Now the function of this is clear. You had some doubts on this.
Sure.
Is it clear now? Okay. If the switch is opened before the timer is timed out, before the timer accumulated value reaches the preset value, if the switch is opened, suppose say I am opening this switch before the value, that is accumulated value, before it becomes equal to preset value, if the input switch is opened, if the input switch is in open condition, then whatever is the accumulated value, that will become 0. Accumulated value, whatever it has stored, suppose say accumulate and the timer has started and it has started to timing is 1 second, 2 second, 3, it has say reached 7 seconds. Now after reaching 7 seconds, actually should reach up till 10 seconds. That is the preset value. Now what I will do at 7 seconds, I will open the switch. I will open the switch. Once I open the switch, whatever 7 is stored in the accumulated bit, that will become 0, because now the timer has reset. The timer has reset now, so its accumulated value will become 0. Okay, hence this timer is called as non-retentive type. The meaning of non-retentive: retentive means if it is retaining the value in the accumulated bit once the timer is turned off. Once you open the switch or once you turn off the timer, whatever bit is stored, whatever value is stored in the accumulated bit, if it is continuing with that, if it is storing the same throughout after the timer is turned off, after the power supply is turned off, then it is called as retentive. It is retaining the value. Now here it is becoming 0. Once we turn off the supply input, the accumulated value, whatever it may be, it becomes 0, and hence this type of timer is called as non-retentive timer. Non-retentive timer. Timer configuration is termed non-retentive because any loss of continuity to the timer causes the timer instruction to reset. If there is loss in continuity, loss in the true or false state, if it is loss in the true state and if it is becoming false, the rung becoming false, then what will happen? This timer causes the timer instruction to reset. The timing operation is that of an on delay timer because output D is switched on 10 seconds after the switch has been actuated from the on to the on position. The timing operation is of on delay timer. The meaning of on delay I told, that is the output D is switched on 10 seconds after the switch has been actuated. Once we have actuated the switch or we have turned on the rung to true state, only then the timer will start to function until the accumulated value becomes equal to reset value. Hence such timers we call them as on delay timers. I hope this diagram is clear to everyone, right? Next, now we have seen the operation of timer instruction. Next, we'll look into the timing diagram of the timer instruction. The meaning of timing diagram is for what value of the timer, for what value of the input the timer is activated. Okay, for what value of the timer it is reset, for what value of the timer it is reaching its final value, for what value the done bit is activated. Okay, what is the time base, what is the preset interval, all these details we will be understanding when we draw a diagram called as timing diagram. Timing diagram is nothing but the diagram of the waveforms. Let us look into that. This is the timing diagram. Here we have the input condition A, that is of the switch. The switch we are having here, this is input A, condition of the switch. That is shown by this waveform. Initially the switch will go from off to on state. Once the switch goes from off to on state, the timer enable bit will be activated. Timer enable bit is activated. Okay, it will become 1. Once the timer enable bit becomes 1, that it goes from off to on state, the timer timing bit will start to time. The timer will start to time automatically once the enable bit will be made equal to 1. As it goes on timing, let us say it moves up till 4 seconds, time base of 4 seconds. Okay, it moves up till 4 seconds. After 4 seconds, what is happening? We are releasing the input switch. The switch, whatever we had closed here initially, we maintained it up till 4 seconds. We have maintained it up till 4 seconds. After 4 seconds, what I am doing? Again, I am opening the switch. Again, I am opening the switch. It was in closed position. Now I have opened the switch. Once this is opened, then what should happen to the timer instruction? Initially, it closed. The switch got closed. Once the switch gets closed, then the continuity is maintained, the rung becomes true, timer instruction is enabled by the enable bit en, right? Then once the enable bit is becoming 1, once it becomes equal to 1, then the timer will start to time. It will go on incrementing. Up till what value it should increment? Until the accumulated time becomes equal to preset value. But say after 4 seconds, I am releasing the switch. That is, I am opening the switch. Once this switch is opened, what should happen to the timer instruction? What happens to the timer instruction? Whether it remains in the on state or whether it goes off? Yes, students? Whether it remains in the on state? Yes. Does it remain in the on state once it is switch is released?
No, sir.
No, it will go to off state. Okay, it will go to off state once the switch is closed. Sorry, open. The continuity is lost. The rung becomes false. Once the rung condition becomes false, the ladder instruction goes to off state. The timer instruction goes to off state. Once the timer instruction goes to off state, it means that the accumulated value will become 0. Whatever was the initial value in the accumulator, it will remain to 0 value. So this is a starting value always. The accumulated value always starts from 0 in the timer instructions. It will go back to 0 until the switch is pressed again. Once the switch is pressed again, then only the accumulated value will start to increase. It will be up till 4 seconds. After 4 seconds, what is done? The switch is opened. So it is going from on to off state. Enable bit is also deactivated. Enable bit is deactivated. That is, it is becoming false. It goes from 1 to 0. Then the timer timing bit. This also goes false. It goes from 1 to 0 because now the timer timing should stop. Then the timer done bit is still in off state because the timer preset value has not yet reached. Is it not? Once the accumulated value reaches the preset value, only then the timer done bit will become high. Until that, the timer done bit cannot become high. Then this input switch A is remaining in off state, and after say some 3 to 4 seconds or 5 to 6 seconds, again the input switch A is activated. That is, it is closed. Once it is closed, the enable bit becomes high. The timer timing bit will start to time. Up till what time it will time? It goes up till 10 seconds. That is a preset value. Once it reaches 10 seconds, then the timer done bit will become high. Timer done bit will become high because now it has reached the maximum value. Correct? It has reached the maximum value of 10 seconds. That is, accumulated value has become equal to preset value. Hence, the timer done bit will become high. Goes from low to high, indicating that the operation is completed. Okay. Then the accumulated value, as you can see in the last waveform, the accumulated value here, it is going from 0 to 4 seconds accumulated value, 0 to some value. Then once the timer is reset, that accumulated value also becomes 0. It is reset. It will remain in reset condition up till this step, up till this value where we are again pressing the switch. Once the switch is pressed again the accumulated value starts to increase. It reaches its maximum value for 10 seconds, and again once it is activated or once the operation is completed, then the done bit will become high to low. It goes from low to high, and then the accumulated value remains in that value up till the next timing value. Once the timer is reset, the accumulated value becomes 0, and again the sequence of waveforms or sequence of operations will continue. Same steps will continue once the timer is reset, and again it is made to start again. Okay. The sequence of operations is as follows. The first true period of the timer rung shows the timer timing to 4 seconds and then going false. The timer resets and both the timer timing bit and the enable bit goes false. Once the timer is reset, the timer timing bit and the enable bit both will become false. The accumulated value also becomes 0. For the second true period, that is when the switch is closed again, for the second true period, input A remains true in excess of 10 seconds, or it is remaining for about 10 seconds, and hence the done bit will be activated because the preset value is equal to accumulated value. When the accumulated value reaches 10 seconds, the done bit goes from false to true, and timer timing bit goes from true to false. Timer timing bit, that also we have to look into. This done bit is going from false to true. Here it is going from false to true, done bit, but the timer bit timing bit will go from true to false because it is now stopped the timing operation, and hence it goes from true to false. Clear? Is this timing diagram clear, students? So such questions may be asked in examination to explain the timer on instruction along with the timing diagram for the on delay timer. Explain the timing diagram, explain the on delay timer instruction using the timing diagram. This may be the possible question on this particular topic. Any difficulty, yes, students, in this waveform? I hope it is clear to everyone, the timing diagram. Any questions here on the timing diagram? Okay. Input A goes false, the timer instruction goes false and also resets, at which time the control bits are all reset and the accumulated value is also reset to 0. This is Allen Bradley SLC Finite timer table. It is called as timer table. What all it includes here? Let us see. The timer table, it consists of 16-bit values. Enable has 16-bit value stored in it. TT timer timing bit has 16-bit, and similarly done bit is also of 16 bits. And even preset and accumulated value, they are also of 16 bits. Addressing is done at 3 different levels. There are 3 levels here. One is the element number or the element level. Then each element have got 3 words. So word level, the next one addressing, address for the words, then address for the bits. There are address for the elements, timers, the timer number addresses. Okay. Then addresses for the each of the words, 16-bit words, addresses for them, memory locations for them, and the memory location for the single bits, that is bit level. Okay. So there are 3 levels here. The timer uses 3 words per element. Each element consists of control word, preset word, and the accumulated word. Then each word has 16 bits, which are numbered from 0 to 15. The same addressing scheme we have studied in our previous slides. When addressing to the bit level, the address always refers to the bit within the word. The meaning of addressing is refers to the bit within the word. EN5 bit, it is 15 enable. EN5 bit 15, enable 5 bit 15. So bit number 15 in enable 5 of the timer is activated. Then timer timing 5, in the timer timing 5 of the timer, bit number 14 is activated. Then in the done bit 5 of that particular timer, bit number 13 is activated among the 16 bits. Okay. So 13 bit is for the done bit, 14 bit is for the timer timing bit, and 15th bit is for the enable bit. Clear here? So you can see in this figure here preset value. What is the preset value, students, in timer 4 file timer 0? What is the preset value in this timer table? Preset value for timer file 4 and timer 0 is how much? It is
10.
10. It is 10. Very good. So here, as you can see in this diagram, it's a preset value. Preset value for timer 4, and that is timer number 0. Timer file 4, timer number 0. For this, the preset value that is stored is 10. That means it has to increment up till 10 seconds, the accumulated value. Okay, only after both of them becoming equal, they will come out and the timer will reset. Okay. Next, instantaneous contact instruction can be programmed using an internally referenced relay coil. Okay, there are two types here of relay coils. One is, it is called as the instantaneous output coil. Another one is for the, that is a contact instruction coil. Okay, let us look into this. So one is the instantaneous output. Timers may or may not have an instantaneous outputs. The timer, once it is connected, immediately once we turn on the timer, we should get the output, timer output. Okay, that is called as instantaneous output. If an instantaneous output signal is required from a timer and it is not provided as part of the timer instruction, an equivalent instantaneous contact instruction can be programmed using internally referenced relay coil. Okay, using the relay coil, we can make use of the instantaneous contact instruction, and then the instantaneous output, immediate output of the timer, not after say 5 seconds or 10 seconds, maybe immediately after the timer is turned on, whatever is the output, that we will be able to observe. Figure next shows an application of this technique. The operation of the program is summarized like this. Next figure is the application of the instantaneous contact instruction programmed using an internal referenced relay coil. Let us look into the diagram. This is the diagram here. Let us analyze this. So we have the line voltage L1 and L2 applied to the rung diagram. Then the stop, this is normally closed. Stop is normally closed condition. When we press the start button, it will get closed. The switch becomes closed. Once the switch is closed, then this timer delay coil will be energized. This is the timer delay coil. The relay coil for the timer. Relay coil for the timer will be energized. Okay. Then this, when stop button is in pressed state, it is in already in normally closed state, and hence this TD1, that is normally open relay contact. This will seal in the timer delay coil output. It will seal in means what it will do? It will maintain the current in the circuit even after the start switch is released. If switch is released, the current cannot flow. There is no continuity. The circuit becomes discontinuous. Correct? Hence, after the start is released, to maintain the current in the circuit, this TD1 will be used as the seal-in contact. You have studied the seal-in contacts, is it not? The function of the seal-in contacts is nothing but to seal in the current. That means to maintain the conduction current even after the start switch is in released state. Then once this is activated, TD1 is activated. Okay, the same is going to activate this TD2. It is normally open. Okay, then this will become closed after 5 seconds. This is open for 5 seconds. After it is activated, it will remain in off state up till 5 seconds. It will remain in open state up till 5 seconds. Once the 5-second time delay has elapsed, then it will become closed and the motor coil will be energized. Starter motor coil will be energized. Okay, so this is how this circuit will work. That means here this timer delay, once it is energized, immediately we'll be able to see the output. We'll be able to use this timer function and check the output here. But if we wanted to check the output after say 5 seconds, then we can have to use the timer delay. Timer delay has to be used. The same timer, we can obtain the timer output. The timer is used in the circuit, and immediately the output can be observed immediately, instantaneously. That is one way, that is one possibility. Another possibility is after 5 seconds of the time elapse. Here for this particular example, they have considered 5 seconds. It can be any timing interval, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, It may be any value. After 5 seconds, what is happening? The motor coil is energized. That means you are checking the output of the motor coil after 5 seconds duration. Okay, so this is the example which illustrates the function of instantaneous output being obtained from the timer function. From the timer instruction, we are able to get the immediate output or the instantaneous output, or we can get the output after certain time duration also. Okay, there are two options, two possibilities here. According to the hardware relay circuit diagram, coil M is to be energized 5 seconds after the start button is pressed. After the start button is pressed, after 5 seconds, the coil M is energized. This coil is energized after 5 seconds. 5 seconds of the activation of the start button. Contact TD1 is the instantaneous contact, and contact TD2 is the timed contact. There are two contacts here. This TD1, it is called timed contact. TD1 is called, sorry, instantaneous contact, and this TD2, it is called as timed contact. This TD1 is referenced to the timer delay coil. This TD1 is reference to the timer delay coil. It means once it becomes true here, okay, this first rung will become true and we can observe the output immediately. Okay, this is reference TD1. Instantaneous contact is reference to the relay coil. This is the relay coil. Then this timed contact, this is called the second one, TD2. It is called as timed contact. It is maintaining the timing after certain duration. Okay, timed contact. This is reference to the motor coil. This is reference to the motor coil. Reference means the addressing is done such a way that the time delay, this instantaneous contact, it always activates the time delay contact first, and then it may activate the timed contact. The instantaneous contact, its first task is to activate the time delay contact. This is activated first, and we'll get the instantaneous output. Then this instantaneous contact will activate the timed contact after 5 seconds of time duration, and then the motor coil will be energized. It will turn on. Motor will be turned on. Right. This is the relay circuit for the instantaneous contact instruction, which can be programmed using an internally referenced relay coil. The ladder logic program shows that a contact instruction reference to an internal relay is now used to operate the timer. Similarly, we can look into its ladder diagram equivalent. This is the relay circuit. Its ladder diagram equivalent is like this. It is almost similar. Here we are representing in terms of switches and timer delay functions and the motor, but here we are representing in terms of coils and contacts. This is the normally close the stop switch or stop button, normally closed state. When stop is normally closed, then this is examine if open, examine if closed, sorry, examine if closed. Once this start button is closed, it will get activated. It will get activated, and the coil, timer delay coil will be energized. Internal relay coil will be energized for the timer. Okay. And at the same time, this is the seal-in contact, what we are having in the parallel branch of the start examine if close instruction. It is same here. In the parallel branch, we are having the seal-in contact parallel to the start switch. Here also we are having the seal-in contact parallel to the examine if closed condition, or that is a start condition. Then this will seal in the contact, it will seal in the current, and it is seen that the current will be in this flowing in the circuit even after the start switch is released. Then come to the second rung. Second rung. Here this TD1 is used to drive, is used to connect to the time delay contact. That is, this instantaneous contact is used to connect to the time delay contact. Okay. So TD1 is used to drive the delay contact here. Preset time is 5 seconds, time base is 1 second. Okay. So after 5 seconds, what is happening? The motor coil will be energized. It will be activated. Fine. And then the motor will be turned on. Getting the point here? This is how it functions. Contact TD1 is the instantaneous contact. Contact TD2 is the timed contact. Then we have the ladder program. Then instantaneous contact is reference to the internal relay coil, whereas the time delay contact is reference to the timer output coil. Is this clear, students? This concept here, instantaneous contact instruction, meaning of instantaneous contact instruction, and meaning of timed instruction. Instantaneous contact instruction is the one which provides immediate output. Immediate output once the timer is turned on. Timed contact is nothing but it is the one which provides, even though it provides the output, it is not immediate, but after certain time duration. This is the difference between instantaneous contact and the timed contact. Instantaneous means immediate, timed means after certain time duration. Remember like this. Okay. I hope these circuits are clear here. This relay circuit and the rung diagram. Clear here, students? Yes? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then one more interesting example, conveyor warning signal circuit. Conveyor warning signal circuit. Let us look into the circuit details. The next figure shows an application for an on delay timer that uses NCTO contact. It is an application of on delay timer only, but it makes use of NCTO contact. Can you all recollect, students, what is NCTO contact we discussed in the last class? NCTO contact. What is the full form of NCTO? Based on that, you'll be able to recollect the explanation, the function of that NCTO. So these functions are such that some of these definitions in the subject, some of the definitions, some of the terms, if you know the expansion of those, you'll be able to write their functions. So first thing is that you have to know the expansion of these. Once you know the expansion, the meaning, then immediately you'll be able to write their functions or write its function. Okay, so remember the expansions, remember their meanings. That will help you to remember the functions of these different terms that are used in the subject here. Okay, so full form of NCTO contact, can anybody recollect? NCTO contact.
Normally closed timed open contacts.
Very good. Normally closed timed open contact. NCTO. NC means normally closed, T means timed open contact. N stands for normally, C stands for closed, T for timed, and O for open. Normally closed timed open contact. Let's look into the circuit details. This is the conveyor warning signal circuit. Conveyor warning signal circuit. It means that when the motor is about to be started, say after 5 seconds or 10 seconds, it gives a warning signal indicating that the motor is about to be started. Okay, the conveyor belt starts to move, it starts to rotate when the motor starts on, or when the motor is in on state. Correct? Then once the motor is about to be started, say after 5 seconds or 10 seconds, a horn goes or an alarm goes indicating the warning signal that the conveyor belt is about to rotate or the motor is about to be started. Okay, the startup switch is here. So when this is pressed and the stop button is already in closed condition, so when both become true, the rung becomes true and the relay coil will be energized. Relay coil will be energized. So this CR1 is for seal-in contact. It is always in the parallel branch. We know that the seal-in contact is usually connected in the parallel branch. Okay, so it is in the parallel branch. Then we have another contact, CR2. Okay, so when this also becomes true, when you are activating the line here, line voltage, this CR2 also becomes true and the time delay contact will also be energized. The time delay coil is also energized. Then after 10 seconds of the relay coil energized and the timed delay relay coil being energized, after the duration of 10 seconds, the control relay coil CR3 is energized and the horn or the alarm will go on. The horn will blow, indicating that the conveyor belt is about to start rotating or the motor is about to start. So alarm that if some persons are nearby, if they are in touch with the equipments, it will give an alarm to them. Please move away from the equipments, okay, so that the conveyor belt is about to start or the motor is about to start. Okay, it's a warning to the persons who are attending those equipments so that they can move away from those equipments immediately once the alarm goes on or the horn goes on. Circuit is used as a warning signal when moving equipment such as a conveyor motor is about to be started. The operation of the circuit is as follows. According to the hardwired relay circuit diagram, coil CR is energized when the start push button PB1 is actuated. So when push button PB1 is actuated, circuit relay coil CR is energized. As a result, contact CR1 closes to seal in CR coil. The contact CR1 closes because of the start button being pushed, and this will seal in the contact. Seal in contact is a seal in contact. Contact CR2 closes to energize timer coil TD. Contact CR2 closes to energize timer coil TD. This contact CR2 closes to energize the timer delay coil TD. And contact CR3 closes to sound the horn. Simple. Contact CR3 closes to sound the horn here. Okay. After 10 seconds. That is important. Here they are mentioning in the bracket the time duration 10 seconds. Okay. So this is normally closed timed open contact. Okay. Initially it is in closed condition. Right. After 10 seconds, what will happen? One minute. Normally closed timed open contact. So it is initially in the closed condition. Then once this is for the on delay timer only, normally closed timed open contact. So when it is energized, it will open. It will open. Okay. It will open and then it takes 10 seconds to close. Once it reaches 10 seconds, the horn will blow. Yes. So it is normally closed timed open contact. Once it is energized, it will open. After 10 seconds, what will happen? Again, it will go back to its closed condition. And then once it goes to the closed condition, the horn will blow or the horn will be turned on. Okay, so it is normally closed timed open contact. The same in the form of equivalent ladder rung diagram. Ladder rung diagram. Whatever we analyzed for the relay circuit, the same in the form of ladder rung diagram. So startup switch, when we press it, PB1, this is for examine if closed, it is closed. So this is already in the closed condition, reset switch. Okay, when both are in closed condition, the circuit becomes true, the rung becomes true. Timer instruction will be turning on when the enable bit becomes 1. Once the rung becomes true, the enable bit becomes 1 and the timer will be turned on. Timer will be turned on. Okay. So once the timer is turned on, then this enable T4:0, this is used to seal in contact. Okay, it is used to maintain the current in the circuit even after the startup switch is released. Then we have the done bit. This is examine if. Which instruction is this, students? Examine if open. So it is activated when it is in open condition. It is activated when it is in open condition. So when the done bit is open, that means once it becomes, that is once the time has elapsed, this is the done bit. Let us go back and see. This is the done bit here, 10 seconds. Okay. So once the time delay of 10 seconds has elapsed, One examine if open, it is actuated when it is in open condition. Okay, and after it opens for 10 seconds, right, only then it will be actuating, or it will energize the enable this bit. This bit is here, we can see in the relay diagram, it is easy to analyze. The CR3 coil will be energized. So this examine if post contact will be activated, and then the horn will blow. Okay, this is examine if open contact. That means once it is open, only then it will be actuated. This is examine if closed. If there is a crossed line, it is examine if open instruction. That means if it is open and after it opens for 10 seconds, right, only then it is going to activate the next part of the ladder rung. That is, it is activating the enable bit. It is activating this enable, that is the this equivalent to CR3 here, control relay coil. Okay, that is examine if closed instruction. Once it is both are activated, the rung becomes true and the horn will be blowing. Okay, so the horn will be blowing, which is connected to the output here, right? I hope this this part is clear, yes, students. Conveyor warning signal circuit. Any difficulty here in this conveyor warning signal circuit? Is it understood to everyone? The discussion on this function of this circuit, is it clear to everyone? Nemani Patil, is it clear? Nemani Patil? Okay. Praveen Helavi? Praveen? Understood, Praveen? Function of the circuit.
Slightly little last how it is, sir.
Okay, I'll explain that. I'll explain. 1 minute. Here, we'll go step by step. First, what is happening? While CR is energized when the start button, push button PB1 is actuated. So here, CR1 is actuated. When push button PB1 is actuated, control relay coil is energized and CR1 is actuated. Okay. Similarly, we'll take the ladder rung next. When PB1, examine if, this is examine if closed instruction. It is when it is closed, startup switch is closed. PB2 is for reset, it is closed. The timer instruction is activated because of the enable bit, right? Then next step, what we are doing, contact CR2 closes to energize timer coil TD. Contact CR2 closes. This is contact CR2 closes to energize the timer delay coil. Contact CR2. Okay, this closes to energize the timer delay coil because of the applying of the input signal voltage. Input signal voltage, how much it is applied? 120 volt AC, correct? That is the operating voltage of the PLCs. Then once it is applied, this CR2, this will become closed. Once it becomes closed, the timer delay coil will be energized, right? Then next, and contact CR3 closes to sound the horn. Contact CR3, this closes, what they are saying, contact CR3 closes to sound the horn. Contact CR3, this closes to sound the horn. After 10 seconds, this is normally closed timed open contact, NCO. Normally closed timed open contact it is. Just 1 second. Normally closed timed open contact. Okay. So this is energized. There is time delay in opening. Okay. When the relay is energized, when this relay is energized, okay, that is when this is energized here, this relay, there is certain time for opening of the this relay, correct? So after how much time it will open? It will open after 10 seconds. That means for 10-second duration, it will remain in the horn blowing state only. Following here, for 10 seconds, the horn will be blowing for about 10 seconds, right? After 10 seconds of opening, only then the circuit becomes discontinuous. Circuit is discontinued, it will become open state and the horn will be stopped. Horn will stop blowing. Normally closed timed open contact means it is normally in the closed state, right? When we actuate this, when we activate this, what will happen? When we energize this, right, it will become open. And for what duration it will remain open? It will remain open for 10 seconds. Don't think that when it is open for 1 second or immediately when it opens, the circuit will become open. No, it's not like that. That is the meaning, importance of the timed contact. The meaning of timed contact is when it is opening for 10 seconds, whatever was the previous state of the timed contact, it will remain in that state. Previously it was in the closed state, right? Now it is slowly opening. It is taking time and it will open up till 10 seconds, right? When it is started slowly opening, even though it is open for a small duration, okay, the rung will not become discontinuous. Okay, it is not going to open the circuit. When it will open the circuit, only after the time has elapsed, only after it has completed its timing, so for 10 seconds, only then the circuit will become open and the horn will stop its blowing. Horn will stop its blowing. I hope now it is clear, students. Yes?
Yes,
This
sir.
portion is clear. Similar for the ladder rung also. It is similar. Both are almost equivalent. Okay. Let us move on to the next one. Automatic sequential control system. Automatic sequential control system. The name itself indicates again here. It's a sequential control system. What is the meaning of sequential? One after another. One after another. Automatic sequential control system. That is the sequential control system in which the controlling is taking place one after another and it is automatic. So such type of systems are called automatic sequential control systems. Timers are often used as part of automatic sequential control systems. The next figure shows a series of motors which are started automatically with only one start or stop control station. That means the start or stop switch is activated only once. It is activated only once. By the triggering of only one time of the start or stop switch, what is happening here? The series of motors are getting actuated. The series of motors are getting turned on just by operating a single start-stop switch. Clear? Let us look into the diagram, then we'll understand. So this is stop push button. It is already in closed state. When we press the start PB2, when we press the start PB2, it becomes closed and this lubricating oil pump motor will be actuated. So this lubricating oil pump motor is a motor which will circulate the pressurized oil for lubricating purpose. Okay, it is circulating the pressurized oil for lubrication purpose. That is the function of this lube oil pump motor, right? Then this will get activated. This is the overload coil which is activated to protect the motor against excess current. If there is any excess current flowing in the motor, that is protected by this overload relay coil. The relay coil will activate and then it will see that the excess current is minimized. Okay. Then this M11 contact is examine if closed. So this will activate to seal in the current in the circuit in the ladder rung 1. Okay, it will maintain the current even after the push button 2 has been released. Then once the pressure in this lubricating pump motor has reached a certain value, okay, this is lube oil, lubricating oil pressure switch. Once it has reached a certain value, a limit, and then what is happening? The main drive motor. So this main drive motor consists of an electronic circuit to control the electrical energy that is flowing into the motor. The input electrical energy that is flowing into the motor is controlled by an electronic circuit that is called as the main drive motor, function of the main drive motor. Okay. Then this pressure, once in the lubricating oil pump motor, it has reached a certain value. What happens? So this PS1 switch will be activated. Okay, PS1 switch will be pressure switch. It's a symbol for the pressure switch. This will get activated and then it will turn on the main drive motor. Okay, main drive motor is turned on and this is the timed delay contact which is there, which will activate the timing once this pressure switch is activated, and the relay coil is again meant for protection for the over current or the excess current. So once this timing delay contact has been energized here, so here what is happening, after a time duration of 15 seconds of this time delay contact, the feed motor, okay, so this is a feed motor is nothing but it consists of a servo motor, servo system, right, and an electronic controller. So a servo system we have studied in our previous classes. It consists of a feedback system, correct, to control the position of the motor and to measure the velocity with which it is rotating. So all those parameters can be controlled or they can be monitored of the motor. So such system is called as the servo system. So this is feed motor consists of a servo system and an electronic controller. That is, it meant the special feature of this feed motor is that it has a constant torque. It has a constant torque. The motor has a constant torque. Torque is nothing but the twisting force. The twisting force which is making the motor to rotate. Okay, so that is constant, and that is the special feature of this feed motor. Okay, so like this, all the three motors will be actuated in series. They will be activated in series. First, the lubricating oil pump motor will be activated. Then, once the pressure reaches to a certain value, because this pressure switch is activated, main motor drive will be activated. Main drive motor will be activated. Then once it is activated, the timer delay contact is also getting activated. And because of this timer delay contact getting activated, after a time delay of 15 seconds, the feed motor is also getting activated. Okay. So this is called a sequential control system, and it is automatically can be controlled the different processes in sequence. When lubricating oil pump builds up sufficient oil pressure, the lubricating oil pressure switch PS1 closes. This in turn energizes coil M2 to start the main drive motor. Once the lubricating pressure coil switch is closed, it drives the or it turns on the main drive motor. And coil energizes coil TD to begin the time delay period. After the preset time delay period of 15 seconds, TD1 contact closes to energize coil M3 and start the feed motor. So once this TD1 coil, this is which type of contact, students? Normally open, yes, time delay contact, normally open. It is normally open state. After 15 seconds, it will get closed. Okay, once it closes after 15 seconds, this feed motor will get energized. It will become condition becomes true of the ladder rung, and because of this, the feed motor will be in on state. It will be turned on. Okay. TD1 contact closes to energize coil M3 and start the feed motor. The ladder logic program shows an equivalent circuit of the relay circuit. That is in the next figure. Same as that of the ladder rung diagram. So it is always better to remember the relay logic first, so that it becomes easy to write the PLC diagram or draw the PLC rung diagram. So this is stop PB1. Stop PB1. This PB1. Okay, PB1 here. Okay, then we have PB2. This is push button 2. So when both become closed, the motor 1 will be actuated. That is, the lubricating oil motor will be actuated. This is the M1 contact to seal in the current. Okay, then PS1, when the lubricating motor, in the lubricating motor the pressure reaches a certain value, PS1 will be activated. Because of this PS1 getting activated, which will be actuated here, the main drive motor will be actuated, and the timer instruction is turned on because of the enable bit becoming 1, and because the timer instruction is turned on, after this time delay contact, this DN bit, time delay of 15 seconds has elapsed, and this motor M3 will be energized. So motor M3 is the feed motor. The feed motor will be energized. Okay. All three becoming energized in sequence. Say first motor is becoming energized for 5 seconds, then second motor may be energized for 10 seconds, third motor may be energized after 15 seconds, like that, in sequence, right? Next is off delay timer instructions. Till now we have seen on delay timer instructions. Next is off delay timer instructions. Okay, I'll just give a highlight of this. Off delay timer instruction is the instruction which will be activated or it is turned on once the rung condition becomes false. Once the rung condition becomes false, only then this off delay timer instruction will become true or it will be activated. The off delay timer T of operation will keep the output energized for a time period after the rung containing the timer has gone false. The next figure shows the programming of an off delay timer that uses the SLC 500 TOF timer instruction. As we can see in this figure, this is the off delay timer instruction. Simple. See here, when S1 switch is closed, when switch S1 is closed, immediately this is examine if closed instruction, this becomes true, and this will, what happens, it will activate or turn on the output because this has become true, and because of that, just a minute. Yes, off delay timer that uses SLC 500 TOF timer instruction. If logic continuity is lost, the timer begins counting time-based intervals until accumulated value becomes equal to preset value. The operation of the circuit is like this. When the switch connected to input I:1/0 is first closed, timed output O2/1 is set to 1 immediately, and the lamp is switched on. That is, the point here is, once the switch is closed, right, this examine if closed instruction becomes true, and immediately this output will become true here. The indicator will be glowing. But suppose if we release the switch, still the timer has not been activated. Remember, still this off timer is not activated. Okay. Now once we release the switch, then what will happen? The rung becomes false. The rung becomes false because it is now in open state. Yes. Because of this, the timer off instruction, this will be activated, and it will remain activated for how much time? Till whatever is the preset value, 15 seconds. It will go on counting until the accumulated value becomes equal to preset value. Say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like this. It will count up till 15 seconds. After 15 seconds, again it will reset to 0. After 15 seconds, when the accumulated time equals preset time, the output is reset to 0 and the lamp switches off. Okay. So when the lamp will switch off, it will remain in the on state 15 seconds. Okay, even the switch is released condition, the time, because of this timer, the output, that is the lamp here, will be glowing for 15 seconds of the time duration. After 15 seconds of the time duration, only then the lamp will become off. Otherwise, there is no use of timer, is it not? Why we have to use the timer? If immediately after the switch is released, the lamp will become off, there is no importance of the timer. What is the importance of the timer there, right? The importance is, once the switch is released, the lamp will not immediately become off. It will be in on state up till this time duration of the timer. The timer will be triggered, off timer, and for 15 seconds it will be glowing, only then it will become off. Okay. So the same is shown in the timing diagram. This is the switch activation becoming true here. Then this is timer period timing will not be started. Only when switch becomes false, true to false, the timer will be activated. It will start to time. It will go up till 15 seconds. That is, accumulated value becomes equal to preset value, right? And then the done bit also becomes true, or it will become false here. For this particular off timer, it is opposite to that of on delay timer. For on delay timer, it goes from false to true, but for off delay timer, that done bit will go from true to false once the timer operation is completed. Okay, just the opposite, right? So this is how it works here, off delay timer. If the switch is now open, logic continuity is lost and lamp timer begins counting. After 15 seconds, when the accumulated time equals the preset time, the output is reset to 0 and the lamp switches off. If logic continuity is gained, this is important. If logic continuity is gained before the timer is timed out, before the timer value reaches 15 seconds, if again the switch is closed, then what will happen to the timer? What will happen to the timer then? Yes. What will happen to the timer? The timer is timed out. That accumulated time is reset to 0. Accumulated time is reset to 0. If logic continuity is gained before the timer is timed out, before the timer of the off timer is timed out, that accumulated time is reset to 0. It will become 0 again. If the continuity is re-established, if it is gained, the continuity is maintained by turning on the switch, closing the switch. Okay. This is a small program which is meant to control the motor positions. It is the same program what we discussed just now, same program, that is we have discussed here. This one, the motor M1, M2 and M3, they are turned on after every 5 seconds. First motor M1 is turned on after 5 seconds, then M2, then M3, okay, using the timer instructions. The same thing here, as you can see, when switch SW is closed, right, and then it is released, okay, the timer off delay, that is this timer 1 instruction will be actuated, okay. Because of the timer 1 instruction is actuated, then motor 1 M1 will be energized for after 5 seconds. See the preset time, that is important. Then the next one, so this M1 will be energized, okay, because of the activation of the timer 1, this bit, okay, T4:1. Then the next, after 5 seconds of the timer 1 becoming energized, then after 10 seconds, that is 5 seconds after the M1 has energized, the M2 will be energized after a preset time 10 seconds has reached. Then after 5 seconds of M2 has been energized, or starting 15 seconds has elapsed, M3 will be energized. M3 will be energized. M3 motor will be energized. Okay. Timer preset values for T4:1, T4:2, and T4:3 are set for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and 15 seconds. Closing the input switch SW immediately sets the done bit of each of the 3 delay off timer to 1, immediately turning on motors M1, M2, and M3. But the important point here is they will be energized in sequence. The first 5 seconds M1 energized, next 5 seconds M2, and third one M3. The switch is then opened, logic continued to all 3 timers is lost, and each timer begins counting. Timer 4:1 times out after 5 seconds. Resetting is done bit to 0 to de-energize the motor M1. Sorry, initially all the motors are energized. All the motors are energized when the switch is pressed. Now, once the switch is released, okay, after 5 seconds of the switch released, M1 will be de-energized. Then after 10 seconds, M2 will be de-energized, and after 15 seconds, the M3 will be de-energized. Okay. It is then opened, logic continued to all 3 timers is lost, and each timer begins counting. Timer 4:1 times out after 5 seconds. Resetting is done bit to 0 to de-energize motor M1. Then timer 4:2 times out after 5 seconds. Later resetting it's done bit to 0 to de-energized motor M2. Then similarly, timer 4:3 after 15 seconds it resets, it's done bit to 0 to de-energize the motor M3. Okay. Is it clear here, students? Any difficulty here in this last topic? Any confusions here in the last topic?
No, sir.
Clear, right? Okay, fine. In today's class, students, let us have a recap of what all we discussed. We started with SLC finite timer file. We looked at its structure. Then later we have covered on delay timer instruction. PLC on delay timer program. Then timing diagram, an important one of an on delay timer. SLC finite timer table. And instantaneous contact instruction. What is instantaneous contact? What is timed contact? The concepts about these. Then conveyor warning signal circuit to turn on the horn. Automatic sequential control systems consisting of 3 motors, M1, M2, and M3, how they are turned on in sequence. Then off delay timer, which is operating when the ladder rung becomes false, and the program for switching motors off at 5-second intervals. Okay, the switch motors will be turned off at 5-second intervals after the off delay timer is turned on. Okay, when the switch is in released condition. Okay, so that's all for today's class, students. If there are any questions, you all can ask. Any questions here, students? Anything not understood? Nathaniel Saldana, any problem in understanding? Nathaniel? Nathaniel? Saval? Saval, any problem in understanding? Saval Harsh? Saval?
No, sir.
Okay. Haldangarkar Pratik Jitendra, Any difficulty in understanding? Aldankar, Pratik, Jitendra?
No, sir, no. Clear.
Okay, fine. Inoj? Any questions, Inoj?
So no doubt.
No doubts. Okay. So tomorrow we'll have an extra class, students. Morning 8:30 to 9:30. Is it okay, no? Tomorrow. I need another 2 sessions of probably 1 hour to complete the module 2. Tomorrow we'll have one class. I hope it's okay for everyone. 8:30 to 9:30 tomorrow. Okay, no? Inoj?
Okay, sir.
Okay. We'll have a class tomorrow from 8:30 to 9:30. Thank you.